Welcome to a journey through time. Today we uncover the 10 most significant assassinations in history. We've selected these moments based on their global impact and the shock waves they sent through society. Fasten your seatbelts as we travel back to our first assassination, Julius Caesar's. In 44 BC, Rome witnessed the brutal assassination of its leader, Julius Caesar. An astute military general and statesman, Caesar was set to be the lifetime dictator of Rome, a decision that did not sit well with many. His increasing power and influence stirred fear and resentment among the senators, leading to a conspiracy to end his reign. Among the key conspirators were Brutus, Cassius, and other senators, who saw the assassination as a necessary act to preserve the Roman Republic from an impending monarchy. On the Ides of March, they struck, stabbing Caesar 23 times in the Roman Senate. The aftermath of Caesar's assassination was far-reaching. It ignited a series of civil wars that eventually led to the downfall of the Roman Republic. In its place rose the Roman Empire, under the rule of Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian. His death marked the end of the Roman Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire. Fast forward to 1865, the United States mourns the loss of President Abraham Lincoln. The end of the American Civil War had just been announced, and the country was beginning to heal. But then came the shocking news. President Lincoln, the man who had led the nation through its darkest hours, was assassinated. The man behind the act was John Wilkes Booth, an actor and Confederate sympathizer. Booth believed that by killing Lincoln, he could revive the Confederacy, a cause already lost. On the fateful night of April 14th, Lincoln attended a play at Ford's Theater, where Booth took his deadly aim. The impact of Lincoln's assassination was profound. The nation, barely out of a devastating war, was thrown into turmoil. Lincoln's plans for reconciliation and reconstruction were disrupted, leading to a harsher approach towards the South in the immediate aftermath. His death plunged the nation into deeper grief, just days after the end of the Civil War. In 1914, the world was on the brink of war following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. This fateful event began in Sarajevo, where the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, Franz Ferdinand, and his wife Sophie were visiting. This was a time of rising tension and discontent, especially among the Serb nationalists who were against Austrian rule. Enter Gavrilo Princip, a young Serbian nationalist fervently dreaming of a united Slavic state. On June 28, 1914, Princip and his co-conspirators saw their chance. As Franz Ferdinand and his wife rode through the city streets in an open car, Princip seized the moment and fired the shots that killed them both. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was more than a tragic event. It was a spark that lit a global powder keg. Nations across Europe were drawn into a complex web of alliances and rivalries, leading to a catastrophic conflict known as the First World War. This single act of violence set the world on fire, igniting the First World War. 1948, India loses the father of its nation, Mahatma Gandhi. A tragic event that sent shockwaves through a newly independent India, and indeed the world. The man known for his philosophy of satyagraha, or truth force, and his unwavering commitment to nonviolence was taken from the world in a violent manner. The reasons for Gandhi's assassination were deeply rooted in the religious and political tensions of the time. Nathuram Godse, the man who pulled the trigger, was a right-wing Hindu nationalist. He blamed Gandhi for the bloody partition of India and Pakistan and considered him overly sympathetic towards Muslims. The world gasped in disbelief as news of Gandhi's death spread. His assassination marked the end of an era, but not the end of his influence. The principles of peace, nonviolence, and unity that he stood for are still revered and followed today across nations and cultures. His death left a void in India and the world, but his teachings of peace and nonviolence continue to inspire millions. 1979, Lord Louis Mountbatten is killed in an IRA bombing. The Irish Republican Army, known as the IRA, targeted Mountbatten due to his British royal connections and military background. His assassination was part of a broader campaign by the IRA to end British rule in Northern Ireland. The shockwaves from his death rippled across the world, exacerbating an already volatile situation and escalating tensions between the UK and Ireland. His death was a stark reminder of the ongoing troubles in Northern Ireland. 1986, Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme is shot dead on a Stockholm street. A champion of human rights and a vocal critic of the Vietnam War, Palme's assassination was a global shock. The mystery of his killer, unsolved for decades, added to the intrigue. This brutal act had profound implications not only for Sweden, but for the world, underscoring the cost of political courage. His death shocked the world and left a lasting impact on Sweden's political landscape. 1995, Israel's Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin is gunned down at a peace rally. This was a shattering event that shocked the world and left a profound impact on the trajectory of the Israel-Palestine peace process. Rabin, a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, was a symbol of hope and reconciliation for many. His assassin, Yigal Amir, was a right-wing extremist who opposed Rabin's efforts to achieve peace through compromise. Amir's act was not just a murder, but a political statement fueled by a deep-seated resentment towards Rabin's attempts at ending decades of conflict. The assassination was a tragic turn of events which led to a dramatic shift in the political landscape of Israel and the Middle East. The loss of Rabin left a vacuum in Israeli politics, contributing to a hardening of attitudes and a deepening of divisions. His death dealt a severe blow to the peace process, the effects of which are still felt today. 2007, Pakistan's former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto is assassinated in a suicide attack. This shocking tragedy was not just a loss of a leader, but a testament to the turbulent political climate of Pakistan. Bhutto, a symbol of resistance and democracy, was no stranger to threats and attempts on her life. Her assassination was a result of her staunch opposition to extremist elements within her nation. The controversy surrounding her death is as complex as the woman herself. Various theories, including potential involvement of internal and external actors, swirl around this tragic event, yet the truth remains shrouded in layers of political intrigue and power games. Bhutto's death had a profound impact on Pakistan's political scene. She was a beacon of hope for many, her vision of a democratic Pakistan inspiring millions. Her death left a gaping hole in Pakistan's political fabric, with effects reverberating today. The loss of Benazir Bhutto, a woman of courage and conviction, is still deeply felt in the heart of Pakistan. Now, hold your breath as we reveal the most significant assassination in history. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., a champion of civil rights, a beacon of peace and equality, whose life was cut short by an act of violence on April 4, 1968. King was standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, when he was struck by a single bullet. James Earl Ray, a fugitive from the Missouri State Penitentiary, was arrested for the crime 2 months later. Ray pleaded guilty, thus avoiding a trial, but recanted his confession 3 days later. Despite his efforts to gain a trial throughout his life, his guilty plea was upheld, and he spent the rest of his life in prison. But the story isn't just about the man who pulled the trigger. It's about the seismic shift that King's death caused in the civil rights movement and the world at large. His assassination sparked riots in over 100 cities across the United States. The federal government responded by passing the Civil Rights Act of 1968, a week after King's death, a law that prohibited discrimination in housing. Martin Luther King Jr. was more than a civil rights leader. He was a voice for the voiceless, a symbol of resistance against racial inequality, a man who dared to dream of a world where people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. His assassination marked a significant turning point in American history and the fight for civil rights. In his 39 years of life, King's impact stretched beyond the borders of the United States. His advocacy for nonviolent resistance inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. Even in death, his life and principles continue to inspire millions. This assassination leaves us with a stark reminder of how a single act of violence can change the course of history. These assassinations have left indelible marks on our history. From Julius Caesar to the most significant assassination, each event has shaped the world, influenced politics, and changed nations. Their echoes resonate even today. Join us next time as we continue to explore the most significant events in history.